Hi everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here taking a look at the DRF Wednesday race of the day. It is race 7 at Parx. Mike, we don't handicap too many races from Parx, but looking around the country, I was trying to find an interesting race on Wednesday, and the pickings were pretty slim, but this 7-horse field going the 6 furlong distance at Parx on Wednesday, actually something interesting to say about almost every runner in this field, Mike, but I think clearly the horse to beat is the number 1, Son of Thor, who has just been unbeatable lately at this condition.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Parks on the schedule. I'm not going to lie, but this race is pretty interesting, David. I don't mind this race at all. Yes, Son of Thor been really good. Keeps improving his figures with every start. He's the horse to beat down on the round.
With this being the race of the day, do note you can get free past performances for this race. Just go to the race of the day page at DRF.com, create a free account, and you can get free past performances, classic, formulator, Timeform US for every single race of the day to handicap along with Mike and me. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. And Mike, it doesn't appear that there's any shortage of speed in this race. Both Michael Pino runners have some tactical speed, though it feels like the number 7, Kohilo Pati, the longer price stablemate of Son of Thor, the one more likely to go forward here. The second-time starter Wyatt Hunter showed a lot of speed on debut, and even the number 4, Sir Charlie Brown, has plenty of speed.
It's true. I like the speed that the number 3 showed in his debut, Wyatt Hunter. Be interesting to see how much he can improve here because it's not an easy spot for him. Son of Thor's got speed from the rail, David. I'll be interested to see how they ride him if they want to get aggressive because he does not need the lead to be effective.
Let's go through this field, beginning from the rail out with that morning line favorite, the number 1, Son of Thor. We'll take a look at his most recent start when he won his 4th race in a row and his 3rd for this exact same condition that he's running in again today, looking now to make it 4 in a row in this optional $75,000 first level allowance race, and he keeps running for the tag lately, so he can run for this condition over and over again. And he got the better of today's rival, Sir Charlie Brown here, Mike, but I thought the runner-up actually was pretty game all the way down to the wire after getting challenged in upper stretch. You can see Son of Thor kind of hanging on his left lead to the finish line, not really putting that runner away, but he does get the job done, as it seems like most Michael Pino trainees do so far this year. He's been winning at just a terrifying percentage so far at Parx.
Yeah, that's not the first time either that Son of Thor has sort of failed to change leads in the stretch. So I don't know, David. I'm struggling with how much credit I want to give the runner-up in that race because you're right. He was super game in there when it looked like he was just going to get left behind at the top of the stretch, but he kept fighting. It still never looked to me like Son of Thor was ever going to lose that race. I don't know, man. He's just in really good form right now. I know he's got the rail, but in his wins 2 and 3 starts back, he was drawn down on the inside. It didn't matter for him. He got perfect trips in both of those races and won convincingly, I thought, both times. He's the horse to beat.
There's one knock against him. I think this is a slightly deeper, more competitive field that he's encountered in his last few starts. So we'll see if this turns out to be a slight step up in class for Son of Thor. The number 2 is Analog Jones, one of 2 Butch Reed trainees that are drawing right alongside each other in the starting gate here. And this one has had plenty of chances. He's been going 2 turns in most of his recent starts. Did sprint early in his career, kind of got outrun in the early stages of those races. So as he turns back in distance, Mike, I'd expect him to trying to be rallying from off the pace. I just wonder a little bit about his current form because it's been a little while since he's run a competitive race.
Yeah, it just seems like his overall form is just really hard to get behind. He's got that one win when he broke his maiden around 2 turns. That he earned a competitive figure that day. Just sort of blew that field out after making a really easy early lead in there. His other races don't really make him that competitive in here, but they are. I do feel like this is class relief for him as well, too, David. I'm not convinced he's going to be effective sprinting, but I did try to talk myself into him.
It's a big class test for the number 3, Wyatt Hunter, that other Butch Reed trainee coming into this race off one start that was a debut win. We'll take a look at that performance when he won over a good sealed racetrack at Parx and showed a lot of early speed this day, dueled for the front end, put his rivals away in upper stretch. You could see lugged in there a little bit, gets tired at the very end of this race, but he's got enough to hold on in the late stages. Mike, I had trouble deciphering what I really thought of the quality of this field. The 3rd place finisher did come back to win, but did so in a $20,000 maiden claiming race.
Yeah, I agree with you. It might not have been the greatest field in the world. I didn't want to hold it against Wyatt Hunter too much, though, David, nor did I want to hold the 49 buyer speed figure against him too much. I just thought he did a lot of good things in his debut there, not only handling it off track, but it's not like they let this horse walk on the lead. I mean, they really made him run early. He was never letting them get into the race through the stretch and held on at the end. And so I'm trying to stay positive on him, especially if that morning line's close to right. I think this horse is pretty interesting in here.
Watching those recent starts for Son of Thor, I kind of want to make the case that the number 4, Sir Charlie Brown, can turn the tables on him because he's had some minor excuses, especially two-back Mike. When he blew the start that day, he was off last in that field, had to move up down the backstretch into what was an honest pace, and he got there and just got a little tired at the end as Son of Thor got a better trip than he did to get the job done in that race. And then last time, we already took a look at the replay for Son of Thor. Sir Charlie Brown was pretty game trying to battle back inside all the way down to the wire, and yeah, you can make the case that Son of Thor was hanging a little bit, but at least Sir Charlie Brown has taken a big step forward with each successive start.
I like that about him too. Again, when I watch the last 2 races, I'm not convinced he was ever going to beat Son of Thor either time, but he's only run 4 times, David. As you pointed out, he keeps sort of moving forward every time they send him out there. He's finally putting races together here without a break in between, so maybe that's a good sign too. There's things to like about this horse.
Yeah, it just does seem like he really wants to be involved in the pace, and there is plenty of other speed signed on in here. The number 5 right-wing runner is one of the more intriguing runners in this race because he's turning back in distance, Mike. And I don't know if you agree with this, but when I watched the first couple starts of his career, especially that second race where I thought he was pretty impressive to get the job done, I view this horse as more of a sprinter. He looks like more of a sprinter to me, and I don't know why they've just been running in long race after a long race with him. I know he has a second place finish against Stakes Company 3 back in that City of Brotherly Love, but even that day, he didn't really finish in the final furlong after it looked like he took the race over. So it just feels like this turn back in distance might be what this horse needs.
I agree. I feel like maybe hanging on or finishing second there in that stakes race over this track 3 back. I think maybe that was the worst thing that ever happened to this horse because they and let them, run him long a couple more times. I'm with you. I don't think he really wants to do that. I like every one of his starts sprinting, David, at least the ones on fast dirt. Even the spectacular bid at Laurel going 7 earlier this year. He ran really, really well in that race after stumbling at the start.
Yeah, Mike, one concern that I have is that his work tab has just kind of dropped away recently. He was a vet scratch on June 2nd. He's had no drills since then. I just worry a little bit about the constant racing of this horse, and you wonder sometimes if they're running in the right spot too late, but it does feel like this is a better spot for right wing runner. The number 6 is Alchemism, a horse who's had plenty of chances, now making the 12th start of his career, and he's another one, Mike, where I kind of feel like the recent form has tailed off a little bit. He ran a race that made him competitive against Son of Thor going 4 back when he only lost to that rival by a head, but he's been well beaten by Son of Thor the last 2 times they faced off.
Yeah, I don't like his recent form enough to want to give him a chance to try to turn the tables on Son of Thor this time. He was in good form earlier, and he was favored over Son of Thor the first 2 times they ran against each other, not last time, and he didn't run well, in my opinion anyway. Didn't run well at all in that last one.
Mike, it's easy to see where that 40% win percentage for Michael Pino is coming from at the Parx meet when you see the PPs of horses like Son of Thor and the number 7, Kohelo Pati, who won 4 or 5 in a row and 3 or 4 since he was claimed by Michael Pino going back to January of this year. Now, he got a victory 2 back in a $30,000 claiming race at Monmouth. That felt like it was a weaker spot than this one. I know the 77 buyer makes him highly competitive in here, one of the faster horses in this race, but going back to his surrounding form at this kind of level, it just seems like it's a cut below.
Yeah, that's how I looked at him too. The competitive figure that he earned 2 starts back wasn't enough for me, David, because I just don't really like any of his other races.
Let's go to picks for this race, Mike. And I think we landed in the same spot on the number 5, right wing runner. Bit of a tongue twister there. Just feels like he's a horse that's turning back to a distance that's supposed to work better for him.
I'm hoping that the very valid point that you just made when we were talking about him, David, that they're not turning him back in distance a little too late here when his form has already started going the wrong way, because I like this horse sprinting and I like this spot for him as well.
Yeah, hopefully he's going to be a price in this race off some of that those dirtied up efforts going a little bit longer. 5-4-1-2 for me and 5-1-4-2 for Mike in the DRF Wednesday race of the day, race 7 at Parx. Good luck if you're playing the races later this week.